Hello and welcome to episode of 11 of Garmin to smashing a PB at London Marathon 2025 question mark. Yeah, it's just me following Garmin. I put everything in my watch. It's programmed in for the London Marathon 2025, and I'm just following the daily suggested workouts basically, and it's throwing up a range of stuff. From next month now, we hit the next phase of the training. It's just all been preparation at the moment. But according to the Garmin watch, the 6 month period, it jumps into kind of the building base, I think it is. Again, I do all this unscripted, so it's information's there if it needs to come up. So I'm just following that along. As training goes, it's been wide range, and we've been doing anaerobic, we're doing tempos, we're doing threshold, along with normal slow basic jogs, and so it's very varied. The long runs, they're not long enough for me at the moment. I will get into that a bit later. But it's also, it's just building us up and making sure that we're kind of concentrating on other things at the moment anyway. At the moment, because I've got a very ambitious time programmed in on for a PB, it's kind of concentrating on quite a bit of more speed work, I guess. And I would just like to say now again, as always, thank you so much for the charity Seeability for giving me a place in the London Marathon 2025. I was lucky enough to run with them for them for 2024. Had such an amazing experience, and just want to relive that again, basically. And that's why I've been lucky enough to get in again and running for them. But with that, I do need to raise good money for them and kind of help them out as they're helping me out living my dreams and that. So please, if you can donate, the links will be in the bottom. Any money now goes to the charity. Sooner the better. They get their money and they can start spending it, on what they need to and putting it into good use and that. So please don't hold back and think, oh, the marathon's 6 months time. Don't wait. Please just add a little bit of money now and a little bit later or whatever. It all counts in the end. So please, and if you can spare a little bit of money now, maybe later on down the line you can spare a little bit more, and then you can just pump it up a little bit more. So that would be really grateful from myself and from the charity. So please donate what you can and that. But let's get on to the running week. For the people that followed last week's video, you knew that there was possibly a little change in my running on the Monday, and basically, the threshold run didn't stick. But I'll let the next video catch up or get you caught up on all of that lot. So here we go. So Monday, just finished work. Quite nervous about this workout now. The threshold didn't stay on the normal watch bit, but I kind of didn't think it would do. So what I've done is still going to do it, because what I've done is I programmed it in on my watch as the exercise it should be. Nervous about this one because it's going to show where I am and that. Got the new shoes, Brooks Hyperion Max 2s. Let's take them out for a spin and let's see what happens. So basically the session will be 10-minute warm-up, normal heartbeat that I do on the warm-ups, 138 and that. Then I am going into zone 4. I'm trying to aim for about 168 heartbeats a minute, and that will be for 24 minutes and see how long I can keep hold of that, and then 10-minute cool down at 138. Let's get this session done. And then after the session, that's it, session done. Just walking back now. New 5k PB, 22 minutes 53 seconds. I beat the Garmin predictor by 15 seconds. Really chuffed with that one. 24 minutes altogether on the tempo run. Did 5.24 kilometers, so 4 minute 34 per pace per pacing. Absolutely delighted with that. I can't complain at starting a week with a PB. And that was a good confidence booster as well, because it does show me where I am, and you mean without bigging it up anymore or whatever, it's like you do keep some in the tank, and that. So if it was an actual race, I do believe I could have gone a bit quicker, but I knew that I had to get to the 5K part, and I also had to get further because of the timing or whatever and all that lot, and just help boost it along and all that lot. So I'm not saying that I can crush records or anything like that, but I do believe there's a little bit left in there, and we could have gone a bit better on. But that's down the line and all that lot. I mean, this is training. It's not competitive and things like that. And I don't want to go crazy and pull a muscle or something and then, screw up the good work that's been put in at the moment, and all that lot. So we just have to kind of see how it all pans out a little bit more. And if I do decide to kind of push on some of these other distances, it's a good way to check how things are going and all that lot. Like I said earlier, I don't feel I'm getting the long runs in at the moment. I haven't run over half a marathon since July now. We're beginning of November this week. Hit into November. And so, that could be interesting. I just want to get these long distances. That's what I am. I love the long distance running. And it's great to get a bit of speed work in and all this lot. But the main aim is the marathon. But it's setting me on a program which we have to trust the process. And yes, I kind of wobble on it a little bit, and then maybe we can talk about that a bit later. But the aim for this block for me is the speed, get the speed up, and that, so don't have to worry about the distance. I know the distance can come. I've trained for marathons before. I've done the distances before. It will come. So now we just have to try and keep up the actual marathon, or the actual training process, and keep it going, and that. So Monday was great. I really enjoyed that. Tuesday was a rest day, as we knew, or I knew. I programmed that in now as a Tuesday rest all the time, and that's. And then we hit Wednesday on a base run. It was 1 hour and 1 minute, so it was like a longer base run, and that, which is a bit nice. Or nice for me, and that I planned it or used it to kind of run home from work. So I did that. I say run home, I don't get all the way. Mentioned in many other videos, on the actual part of getting home is quite steep hills and all that lot, which is great for training and that. But when you've done a long day at work and you've got these run at the moment, it's just nice to finish at a bus stop and that. So I did that. There's a shopping centre just down the road really from me, and 5 minutes by bus, and it coincided with a bus home and that. But then I managed to sneak in and pick up some of the salt and vinegar crisps that I like as well. Don't really get that flavour over here in Norway, but yeah, there is a company that sells them, so that's really, good for me. And so I did that, caught the bus home, and then just enjoyed the Wednesday evening, just calming down a little bit. And then Thursday, it put me on a low base run, 39 minutes. These runs are okay, but is it substantial enough? I don't know. I just did it around the local area. Just over 6K. I think it all is. Just a base run. Just a gentle jog. Getting ready for the week ahead, I guess. So yeah, basically that was the Wednesday and Thursday runs. We hit Friday, and I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't sure what to do. Originally it was going to be a threshold run during the week. Basically Garmin, I can see 5-6 days in advance, and but then but it can change overnight and all of that lot anyway. And if I do a run, it changes, and that, depending on how my training readiness and all of that lot comes in. And so it already come off of the threshold and put me onto a base run. So I was like, okay, great. And then on the Saturday, it was going to give me an aerobic session, and then a longer base run on the Sunday. We know what anaerobic sessions do to me on a day, and I'll get onto that in a minute. So I did program the threshold run like I did with the Monday session threshold. I did put that into my watch, but it wasn't going to be so thing. It was like 3 times 6 minutes at 164 beats per minute, and that intervals and that. So I programmed that in, and throughout the day I was like, what run should I do? Should I do that one? Should I do the base run as planned? And that, or do I kind of put the anaerobic in on the Friday instead of the Saturday, hoping the Sunday would stick? So I had these choices, and and they are suggested, and that, but I want to follow the plan as best as I can. But obviously, still, I got to take a little bit into account myself, and that. And yes, I do trust the process, but I need to make sure that I'm getting what I kind of want to get from it too. This is something that I'm beginning to think about, and then I'm assessing it and working it out which runs suit better anyway. And that, so in the end, I decided to do the anaerobic. Just because, the quick burst of speeds will get me quicker. It will affect my pace, and it will bump my pace up to what I kind of need it to be able to hold out to do the PB in the marathon. And I'm not saying, I'm not sprinting it, and we're not going crazy, and you can't maintain the high speeds and the heart rates and all that lot. So it's just trying to get your body used to it, and then getting you higher up. But I'm never going to be sprinting around the marathon. But basically, I did the anaerobic session just to check it out, and they are good sessions. But and I need to learn on my pace a bit more, because I do it all by heart rate. I'm kind of losing judgment on my pace, and that. So I did it. The anaerobic session. It was 7 times 40 seconds, and it was supposed to be at 3:55 kilometer pace, with 10-15 minute warm up before, and then 2-3 minute recovery in between, and then you do these 40-second bursts, and a 10-minute warm down. So yeah, I did it. It was supposed to be 3:55 kilometer pace. My average was 3:31 kilometer pace. So yes, I overcooked it, and I do believe that has a knock-on effect with the recovery, because you kind of work too hard and by going too fast, so you overexert yourself as such. But it did feel good, don't get me wrong. Maybe it boosts me up later on, I wasn't crazy differences in the average paces either. So it wasn't like one interval was kind of 3:31 or whatever, and then another interval was 3:24. I wasn't ridiculously out of it. It wasn't like 3:06 and 3:45. It wasn't like that. So they were quite close in my head. So I was happy and pleased with that. And it did bring up a new lactate threshold pace. So happy with that. 4:53 per kilometer now. So yeah, 4 minutes, 53 seconds a kilometer I could run, and then that's my lactate threshold, basically meaning anything quicker than that, my body can't shift the lactate, and basically you end up tiring as well quicker. And that, so the idea is when you're running at, say, competitive levels or whatever, is you try and be just below your lactate threshold, so then your body is clearing it and you can still keep going and all that lot. And then obviously when you get closer to the finish line and you need to get it all out, like finish strong as possible, you then start creeping up and up and up and up. And then by the time you get to the finish line, you're falling over. But you've done the effort, and that's what it is. That's what it's all about there. So I did it. Yeah, I did the Friday session, and boy, it wiped me out. My body battery just crashed. I went home, chilled out, kind of plugged in my alarm and that, and it said, "Yeah, you've got well over 9.5 hours sleep." And I was like, "Good, I need this." Wake up, slept badly. 6.5 hours. I was like, "Come on, where?" I slept straight through as well. So obviously with that, it affects the thing. It gave me a rest day, Saturday. Anaerobic session, knocked out a session. Again, it's not the first time he's done this. And that. So then I hit I saw Sunday, today's run, knocked down to 39 minutes as well. It was supposed to be over an hour. Clock's gone back today. And I was like, great, I'll get an extra hour in bed, extra hour sleep. Still went to bed sensible, I set my alarm, it was over 10 hours sleep. I got up half an hour before my alarm, so, a little bit less sleep. But no, it was long enough, but restless, apparently. So knocked off hours of that, and some of my recovery time still. When I do an anaerobic session, it kind of tells me I'm going to be recovering for about 48 hours. And that, so my training readiness was low, and still, my sleep was poor history. So we just did a 39-minute base run today. That finishes off the week. And that just a little jog around the area that, I always do. And that now, nothing special, but these are the days I should be doing long runs. And that in my head. But I don't want to differ from the program. It's like telling your coach is telling you one thing and you're saying, no, I'm going to do this. It's not quite right, but yes, I know my body or whatever, but also the watch is learning more about my body, and I'm learning through the watch more about my body too. So we are a good companion. But it's just that little bit restless thoughts, and I do trust the process, and I do believe it's working. Well, it is working. I'm maintaining speeds and things like that. So we need to check out how the next phase builds in. And I would love to know how someone else that's doing this, if it's really messing around with them so much. I've been watching, obviously, the runner Lucy with her Berlin Marathon one, and a fantastic achievement for her there. Didn't quite go to plan and that throughout the race, but I'm not going to spoil things for those that watch her, and that, or if you haven't seen it yet, go and follow it. I'm not the only one that's been doing this, and that. So, I don't. When I've been watching hers, she sets up the spreadsheet of her week, and it doesn't quite change, where mine seems to be changing. So I don't really know. And I know that she did have to tweak her long runs herself, and that. That's something she has mentioned in a comment to me before via her YouTube. But it's something I need to look into, and that. But how is that going to affect the next set of exercises? Because I know that if I do one set of exercises, it changes to something. So I just have to try and see if all my stuff is optimal and things like that, because I've got 3 different ranges. The slow base runs optimal, the threshold tempo, if that's in optimal, and then the anaerobic. So it's low aerobic, high aerobic, anaerobic. If I can keep them all in the optimal boxes, which I've just found out this week on my watch, how that all comes up, then that's also a good base to play. So I don't know. You mean, is it cheating the program if I swap around the actual plan? You mean what the actual watch tells me, as long as I try to keep the bare core of it? I don't know. You mean, am I doing it a disservice or what? Am I going against the plan? I don't know. Let me know what your thoughts are on this. It's something I'm struggling a little bit with it. You know what I mean? But I trust the process. I do believe I will get there. You mean, you don't, marathon training is not now as such. It's 16 weeks main training block. We use this as the foundation, and we're building and building and building. And then, you mean, my foundation at the moment is getting that speed core. That's how I see it. And that's how I'm thinking it's going, because obviously the ambitious speed time that I put in. So we just have to trust that process. And so, yeah, that's basically the runs done for the week. So that's this week done. Total distance 39.9 or 39.8, sorry, kilometers. A little bit less, but then, like I said, with the anaerobic session kind of knocking out some Ks basically, I should have been going further today. Would love to have been double figures today, but it's knocked me down, and that as I'm still recovering. And I don't want to get it so low. You mean that my training readiness just, 2-3 days off in a row, and that's not going to help anybody. So I do need to be sensible and kind of listen to my body a bit as well. It's still, I've said it many times now. I'm still double what I've done this time last year. I wasn't doing this distance, and even when I was in peak marathon training mode for London this year, following another program, I was only really hitting 50k a week in peak. So be doing, just under 40 this week again. I hit 50 something last week, well over. So really am pushing it and going for it, which is great. It's what I want to do. Yeah, this is what the whole thing is. So again, please donate anything you can to the amazing charity Seeability, and just help me help them. And you can follow me on Instagram on the daily suggested. I normally put that up on a daily basis. Neil _ a dad that runs, same as his YouTube channel. This is just a weekly build up, and it's great. It's a diary for me. Hopefully some of you guys will find it interesting and a journey to follow. London's a long way away. I say I won't. It's 6 months. It's scary for a lot of people still. It's 6 months. I'm not saying I'm not scared, but I'm saying it is a nervous distance. It's a challenging distance, a marathon. That's why I enjoy it. You just don't know what's going to happen, and that's why it's a challenge. And and there's people starting from complete scratch. And I've done it before. I've started from complete scratch around this time to then hit a marathon, and it is scary because you don't hit that distance. You do not run the marathon distance in your training block, where 5k, 10k, and even up to a half marathon you generally could, or you're a little bit below it. You're looking at being 10 kilometers below your finishing when you're doing your marathon training. Marathon, I did a marathon in kilometers basically, and that because I'm over in Norway, in Europe, and that so marathon's 42.2 kilometers. Most training session or most training apps and all that will tell you only to do 32 max, because your body has to recover, and that is the whole point of the marathon. It's brutal on your body, so that's why it's a challenge, and that's why a lot of people try to do it at least once, and that some of us like to do more, and that, but anyone who achieves that is it's a hero in my eyes. And that. So yeah, again, please, follow, like, subscribe, donate to the charity. Thank you so much for watching again, and I hope to see you next time. Thank you very much. Goodbye.